Heroes in a turtle power. Heroes in a half. Heroes in a turtle power. Heroes in a half. Heroes in a turtle power. Heroes in a half. Heroes in a turtle power. Heroes in a half. Heroes in a turtle power. Heroes in a half. Heroes in a turtle power. Heroes in a half. Heroes in a turtle power. Heroes in a half. Heroes in a turtle power. Heroes in a half. Heroes in a turtle power. Heroes in a half. Shuttle 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 turtle power.
Yo. I said, yo. What's up? Hey, how you doing? My name's Heero. We're drawing today. Sorry I was late this morning. Had to entertain my mom. She's actually kicking it with me this weekend, and she seemed to have tuckered herself out from cleaning. So hopefully she's finally relaxing, which is what she claimed she wanted to do, and that's good. That's good. Hope you guys are doing all right. Want to say a few thank yous to some people who sub to the channel. Do I have alerts on this? I do have alerts on here. Oh, you people are awesome. I appreciate it. I'm also gonna be doing like a semi-review of light spoilers, no spoilers at first, but then spoilers in the second part of the Suicide Squad, which I was really a fan of. But also, like halfway through, we'll go back to the drawing section. So let's just go ahead and hit up the art page now and start the review. All right, James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Immediately, I'll say this about James Gunn and then, move on. But he definitely has a phonetic style, right? Like, it's very apparent that he's the director. Like, sort of like the weird sound mixing choices for Christopher Nolan and how you can pick those out, or like the horror mesh combination for the original Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire, who's the director of those movies. The name escapes me, but he also likes to wear a suit on set. It's super interesting. The choices they made and how they chose to like bring us up to speed. I love that the whole bringing us up to speed was brought in on a joke on itself, and it served a purpose. This movie was 2 hours long, and it had to be this long, but it didn't feel that long. This movie was really like good pace, good energy, and overall, like it was a great story. I have a few questions about like, and they probably are answered, and I'll probably have to like rewatch it or revisit some of the plot points, but I feel like there was a lot of plot points where things were left to our own discretion and could have used some more clearing up. But let's just talk like people will die in this movie. This movie is rated R for a reason. This is not for the kids, and I genuinely like the direction they went in this, and the actors. To my surprise, Idris Elba he was the main attraction for this for me. He had a great arc. No different than Deadshot. No different than Deadshot's arc. He's his gadget and his things. I think his name is Blackguard or something. No, that's the dude from SNL. Bloodshot is his name, or Bloodsport or something like that. And the thing that always interests me about these characters is that they're like low level characters. So we don't know who they are. We don't get like a riveting backstory about who these characters are. The only people we know are the people we know from the last one, and they don't shy away from that. Like they make it very clear that these characters exist in the world and exist in a bigger universe. Like the leave it to the Suicide Squad to give us some of the most retro characters. Like this is slight spoiler: Calendar Man, uh, Pixel Lady. Like wow, like I was thoroughly impressed. Zaz and all of them, and give us comic book accurate versions of these people. The Thinker obviously was in the trailer, but to see these rogue galleries actually pop up in a sense, in a meaningful sense, was beyond me. So I was super interested to see that. Can't wait to see like the up close freeze frames of these pictures of these people, because someone's like is someone's excited to see Calendar Man, and if there isn't, I'm that person, right? I take full responsibility for being excited for that. So those are things, but let's talk a little bit about the story. Is this a story that was worth telling? Yeah. Um it has a lot to do with like the culture and how like people understand American West Coast critical race theory is super important in this movie, from the stance of just history needs to be told, the truth needs to be told, but the arbiters of truth, the people who hold it, the power of it, are the ones that dictate like how this goes and how it happens. So like Amanda Waller basically is on another hike to keep America safe, and it's really crazy that she's able to guise her actions, because if you remember in the first movie, she literally killed a room full of her own people to keep a secret. And it's crazy to see that like she has a whole new team, and as these supposed to be her smarty pants team, and none of y'all heard the stories about what happened to her past team. Furthermore, Ric Flair, who frowned upon the behavior in the past, was okay with it now. So that was kind of like jarring to me, but it was a small gripe in the sense of, also I haven't seen this movie since 2016, so do I really remember it? And am I really holding a movie of that caliber in comparison to this movie? Like, get off your high horse, Heero, right? Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy who's you know, trying to make sense of a movie's like not efficacy, but like plausibility, and there's fucking shark people in it. Like you definitely need to get over yourself if that's the anchor you're gonna attach yourself to. So it was cool to see, that aspect of it. Like they've retconned enough stuff that they've decided to make things more approachable, I would definitely say. But it's not like nothing's beyond reproach. Nothing's like out of the scope of practice. And I was cool with that. I was definitely cool with that. Boom. Another thing that I really enjoyed about the movie is, so if we're still staying on like the story topic, is that it retcons a lot of stuff, and it lets people, I think it even lets people play to their strong points. Everyone has a chance to show off their inherent weaknesses and strengths and what makes them a team. Because I was always curious to know, like, what happens when this team inevitably is faced with a ultimatum. It answered that question for me, and I was really pleased with the answer. But as from the standpoint of the story, they are innately aware of what's going on in the system, how they function in it, and like their roles as it pertains to the bigger picture. So that was like super clutch to see that everyone feels entitled in their roles in their organizations and things like that. Um, in the event that people like don't understand what's going on or who certain people are, they don't punish you for not knowing that. Like there's not a gotcha moment where like because you don't know what's going on, it doesn't resonate with you. Don't know what's going on. So for most people, hold on a second. Sorry about that. Had to let my mom out. So that sounds weird actually. But she's she's grown bored with me and has decided to go out into the world without me, which is good for her. But she really did think she was about to come here and like relax. She can't help herself. We all know that. She can't help herself. Anybody know my mammy? No, she can't help herself. First chance she got. Ain't no way she was going to sit here all day. Peacefully, I might add. Ain't no way. Just ain't no way. But, where was I? Oh, yeah. So, the story kind of revolves around that notion, right? That idea. That if you are in this world, in this universe, you're stuck with this idea of every character has a strength, a weakness, and for whatever it's worth, it is what kind of determines how they live. Like you don't get caught off guard by any of their actions. They are who you expect them to be, and you can tell who's cannon fodder in this. Like just how we all knew who Slipknot was in the first one. We know who dies in this movie. You know immediately who dies in this movie just by looking at them. But the level of care they took to put into all of these characters is also still like super impressive. It's like, wow, you guys knew y'all was gonna kill this dude and y'all still put this much effort into it. So James Gunn, shout out to you on that. That's a hell of a thing to see. One thing pushing more into the story is that it also plays this out of sync story, and there was times in the movie that I felt that they were talking about stuff and they made it very clear at what point in time they were referencing these things. So I really appreciated that, but also made me wonder, like, did I miss something when the scene just dramatically changed? Out of sync stories are pretty cool to me. I like them. I think they're a pretty interesting way of telling a story. And it really works for this because it was so fast paced and it never just fell stale. And I think that was a good thing. I don't know how much they knew about what was going on in the pandemic in this world that we be living in right now, but they made a lot of adjustments that if you're not paying attention to it, and this is probably like a consequence of me not going to the movies. In like the Avengers movies, there would always be a beat after like a joke or something was told. And that's because the audience would laugh and it would give you enough time to get your laugh out and then immediately respond with the like, oh, okay, and then you can hear what they're saying again, so you don't miss what was going on. But here, it seemed like the jokes would come out rapid pace, and there was no beat for me to really sit in that. And I don't know if that's an artistic decision or because they know that the the audience is not a crowd, and there's that whole phobia of like FOMO of not being like, if people are laughing and you don't, it's just and it's like, what are you laughing? Like, why are you laughing? Was it really that funny? Was the joke really that funny? You got to pose that question to yourself. So that didn't happen as much. So it felt like the movie was pretty in on the joke of a lot of things, and the characters. And like I said, there was no wasted potential here. The people who were cannon fodder in this movie had amazing designs, and they used reliable amount of CGI on like a lot of things that were super interesting to me. But there's also that part of me that was like, there was a lot of CGI in this movie, like things that didn't need to be CGI, which is kind of weird. And it's the question of, would it have been easier to make? It's a side of effort versus talent, right? There's a scene with a bird, and there's 2 times the bird shows up. One time, which I'll say is the first time the bird shows up, you didn't need that to be CGI. You didn't need that to be CGI. The second time, definitely. The first time, no. And it just begs the question. And also, there's actually 2 questions, and there's a continuity thing. Because how the fuck do birds, like, birds don't migrate like that? Like it doesn't make sense. We'll talk about it in spoilers. But it's just like a lot of CGI. You got King Shark, you got Ratatouille, as I could like to call her. But like, there was a lot of CGI, and it just begged the question, like, did we need to have that much CGI in this movie? Some people say yes. But it would also makes me wonder, like, is this a consequence of us just not being into the whole practical scene? I would have loved to have seen some of these things in the practical sense versus the CGI world that we were given. And it wasn't bad CGI, it's just noticeable. And I guess by definition, doesn't that make CGI bad if it's noticeable? Like, if you notice the CGI is notice it, it doesn't make it bad, but it takes you out of the experience. And especially when it's CGI of something that you don't need, you shouldn't need it to be CGI. So that was like a minor gripe of mine, but it wasn't enough to ruin it for me. Like, I guess I'm just taking it from an editing standpoint. Like, even as an editor and a videographer, I prefer practical situations comparatively 100% of the time. And I think, like, we need to be more, not forthcoming with those things, but like definitely need to be able to say definitively, like, no, this is a means that we want to keep going. And it's a dying breed to see practical special effects, and I would have loved to see a lot more of them. But it's not to say that this was bad. It was just noticeable, and I think that sometimes takes you out of the immersion, especially with this movie. That it did such a great job of establishing that immersion. Every set piece and every action sequence, nothing feels wasted. Like, you don't feel like they're just doing something for shits and giggles. Everything pays off, especially that Milton joke. It literally was a question I asked myself in the movie, and to see it pay off as I'm talking about it, it's just rewarding, because I didn't feel like I was paying attention. I just felt like it was a question that someone should have asked before it happened, and it did, and no one did, and it was just like, interesting. So I always like to. Those are like super rewarding for the people who are in, like, following it suit and really like in depth and trying to keep up with the story. But it's hard for me to really talk about this movie without talking about spoilers, because it's a lot of moving pieces. It's part of a universe that has a bunch of moving pieces on it. So we'll just get into it. the way I rank my movies are, and also let me make sure I have my little spoiler thing. Do I have my spoiler thing? Let me make sure I got my spoiler thing. The way I rank my movies is basically I will I have three rankings. One, and this is the setup to it. It's very convoluted because it's my way of politely saying, um, go figure it out on your own. But if people want my opinion and I have to have one, this is how it's gonna be. Y'all gonna have to take this the way you gonna get it. Um, the setup is basically I walk into a movie theater and I've watched the movie, and as I'm watching the movie, I've already seen it. I wake back up somewhere and I fall asleep like in the middle of the movie. Like I haven't seen it all the way through. So excuse me if I said I had seen it. I haven't seen the movie all the way through. So I'm asleep. I wake up like I'm watching the movie. And wait, no, I've totally messed this up. I've never seen the movie. And then I wake up in the middle of the theater and it's in the middle of the movie. And then I'm giving the knowledge of three scenarios, right? I'm giving the knowledge of three scenarios. Scenario one is I continue watching the movie and I like go through it and like no problem. Like I saw this review. I saw my review and I was like, wow, it was actually a really good movie. I'm gonna keep watching the movie. Option two is, you know, I've seen Heero's reviews. Based on what he said on the second half, it simmers out, and I know what's gonna go on. Not really my thing. Hey, you know what? I got better things to do, so I'm gonna go do it. And the absolute three is, I wake up in the middle of the movie, and based on my previous review, I not only leave the movie, I go out and look for someone to give me a refund for half of the movie that I've already seen because I was just that bad with it. And for this case scenario, it's going to be the first one. Even if I had a bunch of things to do and this movie came on and I had already seen it and I already read the review, I would sit back in the middle of the movie and continue watching because I enjoyed it that much. It's a really good movie. I actually laughed out loud and had a great time with it because it was so like it's just a great time at the movies. You could tell they had fun making this movie. You could tell that James Gunn really got to this is what Guardians of the Galaxy would look like if it could be rated R. And I hope people don't take the wrong message from this, right? A lot of people are going to see this movie. A lot of movie executives are going to see this movie and say, make the Suicide Squad, make colorfuls and put symbol. Like, it's strange. It's strange because he just basically made the Suicide Squad, but made it. And this is such 4D chess. Like, the Suicide Squad was a response to the Guardians of the Galaxy. We're going to be super edgy, comical, have great music in our drops and things like that. And they went in and did the most Control Alt Delete copy paste bullshit. And it was just like, copy my homework, but don't make it look noticeable. And it was so noticeable. So in this situation, we got our spoiler up. So we're at spoiler alert. Let's put it down here. So we're heading into spoilers right now, and it was just so noticeable, right? That they weren't up to speed and didn't know like the ins and outs of the situation they were going into and how to really make this movie translate well. That was what they were missing, making this movie translate well. So when you finally do see this translation from the originator, which was James Gunn, you have a total appreciation for this. All right, so what are we talking about here? We all seen the trailers, and shame on the trailers for not holding this, because I was under the impression that there was another big reveal. There wasn't, and you could call it another reveal, but I thought I would have made the initial army bout that happened in the beginning, just make them the full-time bad guy and hide the reveal of Starro, because I would have loved to really. It wasn't impactful. Seeing Starro wasn't impactful, and I never thought I would say that. And it's not because it wasn't a good character. It's just because I had seen him for the last 3 months, so it didn't resonate with me. And I feel that largely in part is because I saw it in the trailer. And it's just, we got to do something about these trailers where they're just giving away movies and important plot points. And I just don't know who finds this to be interesting. Like, if The Suicide Squad by James Gunn isn't enough to get people in the door, maybe it's time to change up the fucking genre. Because that was something that really just took me out of the movie. Because I knew it was coming, and when I didn't see it right away, I didn't see it until like like Starro doesn't pop up till the halfway point. So it's just like, why isn't this like the focal point? I thought a perfect way, and they do something that really irritates me. So basically, let's get into this fable, shall we? The whole thing is that the American government has been controlling this small Latinx country, and we've been controlling them because we actually captured an alien life form called Starro. And for all you guys that don't know, Starro is basically an alien who is like the first real villain of the Justice League. Starro's whole thing is that he takes over people's bodies and turns them into zombies. But like, it's not one of those things where they are zombies. It's they all are Starro. Like they embody Starro now. So like when he talks, it's this cool scene where they all talk, or they all are like feel the same pain he feels or she feels. I don't know what Starro's gender is. They feel, and it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me that, that the Suicide Squad has to do this, because immediately the first thing that came to my mind is, how y'all beating this thing? How the fuck are y'all beating this thing? And let's talk about the cast, right? They got Polka Dot Man, they got Captain Boomerang, they got Mongol, they got Ratatouille 2, they got Bloodsport, they got Peace Walker or Peacemaker, King Shark, which they call him a different name the whole entire time, which is really weird to me. Blackguard, Weasel, TDK, the detachable arm, TDK, the detachable, like arm kit. Basically, his arms fall off. Javelin, Harley Quinn, Savant. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, and that's the whole team. And this team is tasked with what you think is destroying this kaiju. But no, really, it's just to cause this kaiju to break free and retrieve proof that America was really the reason why this thing was captured and left here. And it just is like, and Rick Flag can't be this dumb. Ain't no way, boy. Ain't no way. Ain't no way Rick Flag is this dumb. To have fallen to have fallen for this trick again. Because the first Suicide Squad, they literally tricked him into breaking into a secure area to get Waller out. So it's like you fell for this same trick again, where she's deceiving you into putting like misdirection and blame on the U.S. and instead putting it on, the real assholes of the party, which is the American government. And that's why I said the critical race thing is super important, because America's literally trying to whitewash what happened and how like they got there. So basically, the reason why America feels the need to get involved is because the family that was put in charge by America, they got killed in a coup. They got killed in a coup real quick, and our response isn't to like try and help them regain control. It's to say, well, fuck it, we're gonna send in our secret group of people and get them to retrieve the data, basically saying that this is the jobs of the Americans. And it seems, and that's not the reason why I'm upset with the story. I'm more upset with the story because it's just like no one in the universe, like everybody in the universe trusts her. And this is clearly a system or a program that has been working so well that like people are innately aware of it within the prison and within the organization. So why wasn't anyone aware of this? Why is Amanda Waller the only person that knows what's going on? Like even her team of super scientists, genius people aren't aware of this. They're just not. And it's just like it just takes me out of it because it makes her look like this world beater. But then she gets she gets hit in the back of the head with a fucking putter, and it's like you didn't see that shit coming. I'm being petty, obviously, but it's just like there was so many other ways you could handle this. You could in this universe, but I get it. The point of the Suicide Squad, which they changed their name to the Task Force X, was to recover that drive. And that is when we find out who the real bad guy is, because it's not the cruel, corrupt government. It's not the coup military. It's not even the giant kaiju starfish that is turning people into host body zombies. The bad guy of the movie is really Peacemaker. And Peacemaker is a trope on a trope. Bloodsport or Bloodspot, whatever his name is, literally says, and they make a joke about how like he is basically Deadshot, and his story arc is literally the same. And when Bloodsport shows up, he literally says, "I am you, just better." And throughout the whole movie, he proves that adamantly. Like he his tactics, his technique, and John Cena did such a good job with this role. And I heard that they're going to be making like a mini series for him. Sign me up. I will be watching that miniseries. I will be watching that TV show version of him because he's so funny. He's so good in the role. And there's a part of me that feels like, dang, you guys. And this is another thing. Because HBO made mention of the fact that he would be in his own series after dealing with the aftermath of what happened in Suicide Squad, I immediately knew he wasn't going to die. Even when they fake killed him, I knew he wasn't gonna die. Because people can't shut the fuck up. People can't, we gotta hype this up, we gotta make, like, damn. Especially in a movie like where the goal is the sort of the fun is seeing who's gonna die, right? That's part of it. They took that from us. They didn't let us have it. But basically, Bloodsport or Bloodshot, whatever his name is, he's the new leader. Rick Flag is still there, and I guess I can spoil this now. This is the people who made it: Weasel, Bloodsport, Ratatouille 2, Harley Quinn, King Shark. Polka Dot Man, no, he dies. Actually, I did not think Polka Dot Man was going to make it that far. He probably was the strongest out of all of them. He had this weird thing where everyone turned into his mom. It was funny the first time, 3 times, no. She looked like the most Karen of Karen, and it just made me feel uncomfortable. Maybe that was just like my Black Lives Matter thing triggering. But the people who lived was Harley Quinn. And this movie was it was sort of a boys club type thing. I felt like Harley Quinn was sort of pushed to the back, seeing as how she was sort of front and center in the last one. But I guess like that's acceptable because I didn't notice she was gone. I didn't miss her. And I wasn't mad when she was on the screen. I wasn't like, oh my god, get her off the fucking stage. Like, no, I was always entertained when she was there. But I just felt like her banter was needed more. She's clearly the comedic relief, and she wasn't she wasn't with them for a vast majority of the movie. So Harley Quinn makes it, King Shark makes it, Weasel makes it with the fake death drowning. Bloodsport makes it, Ratatouille makes it, and what's his name? John Cena's character, Peacemaker, make it. That's 6. Milton does not make it. Yeah, that's it. And it was pretty cool to see how all of them died. All of them had very unique deaths. TDK, the detachable arm kid guy, his shit was hilarious. His shit was hilarious the way he died. And the way they killed Bizarro was believable because that was another question. At first, when I first saw how Polka Dot Man's power works, they retconned it. Really, his power isn't just to put polka dots on places and teleport things. His polka dots literally open up dimensions on whatever surface it lands on. So it literally cuts people in half. Like it's like being cut in half by time and space. And that looks painful. Painful is the only way I could describe it. And they make great use of this retcon of him. So that was interesting to see. No cap. And then Bloodsport by far had the most interesting way because basically he can turn his uniform or whatever he is can like turns into weapons. That's his thing. Like the stuff he's wearing will turn into weapons, and that's how like he fights. So like he'll take like pieces of his outfit to make weapons, and that was pretty interesting to see because in situations where people can't be armed or you need to hide your weapons, it was great to see him like think outside the box on those situations. So kudos to him. Peacemaker once again was just him but better, and he showed it multiple times, but showed it to the point where I love when jokes come back as reference. He used a tactic Peacemaker used in the past to beat him, to beat Peacemaker. So he's not a slouch in the sense that he doesn't learn from his enemies, at least. So that was nice to see. And I just knew Idris Elba was gonna die, but I guess you can't kill the only black guy in a movie anymore. I'm happy to see that trope is dead. King Shark was played by Sylvester Stallone, voiced by Sylvester Stallone, and you could definitely hear it, and I loved every second of it. What else was there in this movie? There was a few things, really. There was a few things that didn't really catch me off guard, but like I said, this movie definitely leans into the fact that the first one wasn't very good, so they could get away with certain things. And it's not saying getting away with certain things in a bad way, just that they weren't going to be subject to a lot of the things they got away with that you could explain away with saying that was the old way or the old thing. An example of this is just like Amanda, like once again, people being oblivious to Amanda Waller's real plan. Like no one knew that. Like the one guy, and this is the thing that was kind of caught me through loop. There was a guy on her team who says outright, "You're not really gonna kill her, send his kid to prison, kill his kid, were you?" And she was like, nah, you don't know shit about me. And I was just like, yeah, bro, you don't know shit about her because she clearly killed her whole other team. And the fact that you don't know that makes me concerned for your life. So it was just stuff like that because they were supposed to be the brain squad, right? Like y'all didn't know this shit. Y'all didn't know she was out here murking her own people and stuff like that. But hey, we got to see someone get their head blown off using the bomb, which was Savant, and that's what I was talking about with the CG bird. The bird that he kills in the corner of his cell could have been a bird, like a quick cut, hard cut to a bird, a prop bird, than using like special effects to do all of that. And the fact that it wasn't just kind of rubbed me the wrong way because it was just like that. That would have been so much easier than the amount of money and time you spent. Uh, like, cause I've made CG characters, like wiring and moving and animating, lighting, detailing. Oh my goodness, feather physics. Get the fuck out of here. Like, and then that same type of bird happened to be wherever this mission was 250 miles away, not even, probably like 1,000 miles away from the prison where Blackgate is. So how the fuck did that same bird species show up there on the island of this imaginary country? It was just so weird. Something that could have been cut completely from this movie was the Freedom Fighters segment. The only thing that made that movie useful, segment useful, was the fact of when they had their kill off montage. Those freedom fighters were used in it, which was slap in the face because it once again personifies a trope of American lore, which is, oh, we're the good guys. We can do no wrong. Anytime we kill somebody, it's because we want to, and I mean, because we want to, and also because they're bad. And this sequence of events proves that without a shadow of a doubt. So it was really good to see. It was a really funny segment, especially when we find out like, yo, he's not in danger and they're the good guys, and it's just further makes the Suicide Squad just look bad. King Shark was really good. I was not a fan of the rat character. Just don't get it. But Taika Waititi was her father, so it was really cool. And like they do a good job. I'll say this: they do a good job of making us feel for them. I felt bad for a lot of their situations and circumstances. Like when he says like, the best advice I gave you was to leave me alone as a father. Yo, that's a message, right? That's a whole goddamn message. Like, I ain't shit. I ain't never gonna be shit. The best thing you could do is avoid my not shit ass. Just leave me. But some people don't want that. It hit me different. I'm not gonna lie and say, like, wow, that's real. That's real advice. Like, stop whatever feelings you have and animosity towards me about leaving you. Get over that shit. Cause I'm not shit. I get it. I get it. And that was real. That was real. So, but yeah, I'm about to go on Zero Dark 30. Like I said, I really enjoyed the movie. I would definitely go see another one. I hope they make another one. I hope James Gunn comes back for that one. I hope Marvel starts to see that superheroes, because Deadpool's coming to Disney, and doesn't make me nervous, but it does make me nervous. It's like, will they get the gist? Will they understand the gist of this? Like why this worked? Or will they try and make it super Marvel friendly? which I mean I can't complain. Um, I don't think Marvel has made a bad superhero movie yet since Iron Man. Uh, Even I haven't seen Black Widow, and to like I said, I'm done watching a lot of these movies. It would have to. It's kind of strange because DC is the only movies I kind of feel obligated to see because they actually go walking in many different universes. While the story for me in the MCU finished when when Iron Man hit the snap, especially since they didn't recast Black Panther, like they didn't want to give us a black hero. I think I need to make a video about that. Like why recasting Black Panther is more important than a story arc. Because they saw the hope they gave a bunch of black kids, and I don't know if the media was really ready for that type of not outcry, but outward joy for black exceptionalism, and it might have stirred them away from it. I don't know. But yeah, it's 46 minutes. I'm curious. I'm super curious to see um, all what the DC lineup has to offer because these movies were pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, that's been my review of this little tidbit. We're gonna refresh our drink and be right back. Hold on. All right. All right. So we're done with the spoilers. And Rice Krispie treats only 150 calories, as my brother likes to say. I don't know. All right. We're going Zero Dark 30. And we're gonna put in some more work into this drawing. But I have some music playing in the background. I gotta listen to my book club thingy. So we'll make sure we do that. All right. All right. Let's have some fun. I'm actually in the writing segment of this part, so I'm gonna focus on the writing. And I can't write when I got people talking to me and shit, so we're already 5,000, and we're gonna go see my mom. Alright, you guys take care of yourself. Peace.